Good evening and welcome to 27 Minutes here on WJTS 27. The Jasper City Council met this week, including a public hearing session.
We'll call to order the Common Council for the City of Jasper, September 17th, for a public hearing, which is advertised for 6:50 p.m. The first order of business is a roll call.
Mayor Schmidt.
Present.
Councilmember John Schrader.
Here.
Councilmember Dave Frechtel.
Present.
Councilmember Tom Schmidt. Councilmember Jasper. Councilmember Wood Peters. Councilmember Kevin Manley.
Present.
Councilmember Randy Bookman.
Present.
Councilmember Ray Howard.
Here.
And City Attorney Sandy Hammerline. Here. In order to have a quorum, the majority of the council members must be in attendance. 6 of the 7 members are in attendance, which is the majority. Therefore, there is a quorum for this hearing.
Thank you. We're in a public hearing to receive public input concerning the petition of the estate of Mary Ann Haas to vacate a public utility and drainage easement located between lots number 12 and 13 in Dome Villa subdivision. Notice appeared in the Herald on August 29, 2008. Notice was also posted at City Hall and faxed to the news media. Is there a spokesman for the Haas family? There are two of you coming down, Tony?
Yeah.
No, that caused problems.
If you'll state your name and your address for the record, please.
Sylvia Bullock, Jasper.
Tony House, Jasper. Where the easement is this time is right.
Okay, Tony, if you'll give him a council a locate on their location.
I think you're probably
56.
56. And this is going toward Chris's place will be down there, top of Black Gate. This way. The easement at this time is right in the middle of these two lots. We want to move it to the edge of lot 13, keeping lot 14 the way it is.
Just a little history on this. You want to give it, Sandy, or should I?
Go ahead.
You got all the papers there.
Well-
Go ahead.
So, do you mean what our history and what we've done?
Right, why?
Okay, so, we have our department heads all review these when the petition is filed, and we ask for their comments, utility managers, and, Randy from the Star Sewer, and Chad, and Dave, and all review. So, the wastewater department, and actually it turns out also the electric department, do have lines in this area, and while they don't need this easement for the utilities themselves, that's the one that shows. While they don't need this easement to actually put utilities in, they did use this easement for ingress and egress to get to their line. The map there showing the sanitary sewer line. So the sanitary sewer line is back here, right there. So we still need a way, and if you remember from the map before, there is an easement in between the two houses off of State Road 56, but it's covered with trees, and there is no way to use that for ingress and egress. So, our wastewater manager did ask that if the utility easement was vacated, that we would receive a 20-foot easement for ingress and egress, in return in order to access the sewer line. And then as we discussed on Monday night, the service board, then, our electric distribution manager also indicated the same, need. So they have agreed, and I think maybe they even have a document even prepared, an easement for the both sections to sign, so that if you feel that you want to vacate this easement, then we would be, prepared for.
So we're basically asking to vacate.
We're gonna vacate this one, move, and
And they were gonna move it down.
We're asking to do it.
No,
No, they're asking.
They're asking us.
They have a buyer, those are two empty lots, and they've been on the market, and they have a buyer for both lots together. And the buyer has indicated that he would like to build a house on both lots together and wants to put it in the middle of basically right where the easement
You should put the other, the reason why we feel it's important that we keep this is we do, if you see the pink arrows there, we do have a sewer line going down to this one, and we have no way to get into it unless we follow the whole easement around, so it's our best interest, or ingress and egress only to get back to the line that's behind the house. And the buyer has no problem with this?
And they're gonna take the whole easement off of number 13. They're not gonna split it, that's gonna be what you do.
Okay.
because there's a problem with splitting them.
Yeah, right, no. Because they said there's a line of trees already there, and that'd be the simplest way, and I guess our truck's plenty of room to get through.
Okay, we're in a public hearing to receive public input concerning the petition of the estate of Mary Ann Haas to vacate a public utility and drainage easement located between lots number 12 and 13 in the Von Villa subdivision. Are there any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this public hearing.
Also move.
Motion was made by Councilmember Butch Sheeter, second by Councilmember John Schrader. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Now,
In the ordinance will be.
we have an ordinance that we'll read later on. You're welcome to stay for it, or you can.
You can see the Jasper City Council meeting in its entirety this Sunday morning starting at 8 a.m. Meanwhile, at the Huntingburg City Council meeting, the council decided to close A Street at 231 near the railroad tracks.
Next thing is, we went up, I've got a, Gene, you and Kenny, boy, I got tied up this week, and, let me show you this here. We drew a map here. I know you know where the intersection is at, 231 and 8th Street.
This is the East
This is a new one.
Okay.
He brought up a new one, right? Yeah.
One's for Van Buren Street, one's for A
I
Street.
guess Van Buren. This is 8th Street.
Okay, well, I think he's, yes, Van Buren. We're
So
on
this
this,
morning he was
well,
trying to show me things.
no, right here, this, I need to show him this, though.
This is the utility office.
We asked for, Linda in the Board of Public Works meeting, and, Ron Bolin asked for a request to put signs that says stop here on a railroad crossing. They like to put them out there, but they don't put them out there unless the city requests them or the county requests them. Because of the arms, because of the way that intersection is made, they like putting signs there that point an arrow. That's a lot of, you take your driver's test, they tell you to stop at a white line. But how long has it been since I was taking a driving test and people sort of crowded, but
I don't
Brian's,
think on Van Buren Street There is isn't a white line. I looked today. There isn't.
Right,
There
but-
isn't a white line.
there used to be, but they haven't put it back since they did that storm sewer there. But Brian's gonna write up a request in town to have all those at the railroad crossings with an arrow pointing down. And right here on right here at 8th Street, what we have, the state and the railroad and us work together, and the Board of Public Works approved it this morning about closing 8th Street here. We talked to every single homeowner right here that lives on this block, and they were 100% for it. And there's an agreement that we make improvements here where this is where the old fertilizer plant was. This is all gone now. They don't use this fertilizer anymore, and it's a bunch of dead grass and stuff in there. We're gonna fix that up and put a cul-de-sac in here. And it's a safety concern because we brought a few vehicles here and stopped right where you're supposed to stop. And that is breaking the railroad ground where the railroad came in there and did some work. Your vehicle is still on the railroad property here. And then we have drainage problems. Whenever we get this road done, we're gonna have drainage problems here. getting water away from here, and that was a problem with the railroad here. They replaced the storm sewer. Right here is the old one. It was all broke down. Every bit of this was broke down. We couldn't even see daylight through it. And it's a 24-inch tile. So they replaced every single bit of this and redid it, and we got a huge crown. If you go down 231, I don't believe I have to tell you, you got to lean to the right when you go up the rail and come up, and that was a big problem here. All this in here was all mud, and we can't get the drainage. So we went up and looked, and we got this torn out. We're going to put a sidewalk in here, and then from here, from this property here, we had the homeowners up. From this sidewalk, they're going to put a sidewalk right here, going right back to this property, and then we're still going to have a sidewalk down here. If you look up tomorrow, you'll see them blacktopping. They're going to put a curb up here, a temporary blacktop curb right here, and then we're going to have grass, and then we're going to have the sidewalk, and then we're either going to have grass or rock back here on the backside by the railroad. But we got an ordinance here. An ordinance authorized to dead end 8th Street here. And if you guys want to come up tomorrow, but that approach, I can't say how much the state and the railroad and us, it's phenomenal the way we're working together, and they love it. But we all came up, I was totally against this right here, and Linda was too, weren't you, Linda?
I still have reservations, but I understand the situation.
But until you go up there, you can't actually understand it unless you look at it. But we're gonna shut that down because of drainage and safety issues. And we need to adopt an ordinance tonight on.
And after talking with them out there, it'll all be level when you approach.
When you come up to
won't have
231
that
now,
rock.
it's gonna be a straight shot, and it's gonna be flat across that railroad. You will have approximately 40-45 feet that is flat. When you go on that railroad, it's all flat.
Have
There
they
won't
built
be any
that down
hump.
yet?
They're starting tomorrow. And Rudolph is gonna be doing the job. They gave them the job this morning. We met at 7 a.m. And Rudolph is gonna be doing the job. And our guys gave him a hand out there. I mean, we've been working with them. But, you know, if you guys got any questions, you're more than welcome to come out, and I can.
You feel like this is the only option that we have?
Yeah.
Make this go, I hate to close the street.
I do too. And we all do.
I was
Linda?
totally opposed.
I was against it right away. Until they took this out, I'm with you, Gene. Until they took this here out, and you get over here, you look at that and you can see how much of a problem. And if we don't do this, this railroad's gonna have problems again because of the drainage problem here. I mean, it might last us 4 or 5 more years, but we're gonna come back to this and it's gonna haunt us. And with all the work we did on this, we'd like to do it right. On that, with the state, I mean, it's almost uncalled for to shut state highway down for 10 days.
Yeah.
3 days is max for a railroad that they've ever got. I mean, when the state said, yeah, you can, as long as you're gonna do it right, 10 days in. And they did a great job. They did a fantastic, they're still up there working now. The railroad are. They're working, well, whenever I come in, I know they were still working to get some of that stuff torn out so that they can blacktop tomorrow. They're gonna start blacktopping and milling tomorrow on 231.
There's a possibility, am I right, that building may be torn down?
There's a possibility. The gentleman that just took it over is from Kansas, from what I gather, through Illinois or something like that. He made a
Ohio.
comment, or Ohio. Thanks, Linda. They're not for sure exactly when or what they're gonna do, but they know they're gonna do something in that building, because all it held was fertilized before, and really structurally, they're pretty sure that they're gonna tear it down.
Have you got any more word about that fixture that's over there on that side of that building that's gonna be in the way of the
No,
cul-de-sac?
we've talked to them. It's after we adopt this ordinance, then I'll get a copy from Tom, and we have to give it to the railroad, and in turn, the railroad has to get a copy to their office and the state highway to Frank, and then Frank will authorize that signal being taken down. But the signal on the other side on 231, that will stay in place for a while until people get used to not turning in there as a precaution. And we're gonna put barricades along there because, just like I do, you got a habit of turning a certain way. It'll make sure people don't turn in there.
I
But
think
we're gonna
that'll
put
be totally blocked off
No, it will be.
permanently to
it-
drive in
No, it will be. There's gonna be a curb in there. They won't be able to turn in, but
there. That's what you meant by temporary curb, they're putting in. to keep-
they're putting it in now because the state highway's gonna come back later and put a concrete curb.
Okay.
But for right now, to deter people from going in there, and the curb is gonna be for the drainage. See, there was no curb there for drainage before. And that's we're getting back in the drainage issue. They're gonna put that curb in there to help with drainage. So,
I'll probably be the first one plugged into the barricade.
so we need to make a motion to adopt an ordinance authorizing the termination of 8th Street in a dead end and at its intersection with the Norfolk Southern Railway crossing.
2008-31.
Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
First and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. I'm just against closing streets that connect to major thoroughfares.
I was too.
That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Roll call?
Well, you need to, actually, that motion is to introduce a number. You can, with unanimous consent, consider it on the same night it's introduced. But if you don't have unanimous consent to consider it on the same night it's introduced, then it has to carry over for another week, or for another meeting. Obviously, voting in favor of considering it tonight is not a vote in favor of the ordinance. If you choose to vote against it, you can still vote against it. You may vote in favor of considering it on the same night it's introduced and still vote against it. If that's what you feel.
We'll do the same night? Yeah.
So
The motion to consider it on the same night that it's introduced does have to be unanimous. And even though you voted against it, you may still vote to consider it on the same night that it's introduced. And then you have to vote in favor of the ordinance. You're just saying, okay, I'll consent to considering it the same night. I'm going to vote against the ordinance. Does that make, does anybody have any question on that?
I'm like Ken, I just hate to see it done.
You got a motion?
Do they not understand what it's
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah.
Yes, we understand.
I just don't agree with it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't
I mean-
agree with closing streets and empty major thoroughfares. I think it can be repaired. This highway's been there for 100 years, and it worked for a long time. I think there's gotta be a way to make that work without closing that little artery that goes to that highway. Because you're talking 6th Street to 10th Street to even get out to that highway. There's no other way to get there. And of course, tonight's the first time I've ever heard of it, in G&G.
Yeah. Sure.
I've been tied up.
Well, I'm not blaming
And,
you,
yeah.
I'm just, it's a fact.
Well, I should've got a hold of you, but
It's a fact.
with the storms and everything,
There's no problem, I'm
No,
not blaming anyone.
I understand
But
that.
it is a fact. I haven't looked at it, haven't been down there.
but I'd welcome you down and come bring it down and show you, and then you'll understand. I was totally against it right off the bat. I told Brian him it's not an option, and we went down there, and after they tore it out and replaced the tracks and the storm sewer, and we seen how bad that infrastructure was underneath. I don't want this town to go through that again, something that major again, especially on 231.
We closed an alley a few years ago,
Yeah.
up behind the old Tobacco Road up there, through the,
Yeah.
between 5th and 6th, and I was against that. I don't think we should close that.
Oh, yeah.
They close it anyway. I mean, that's just the way I feel about closing
And that's
alleys.
what we wanna hear.
Once they're
I don't blame you one
established.
bit, Ken.
Once they've been there and established, I think it's tough on people to oppose it. But, whatever.
I move for unanimous consent to consider the adoption of ordinance number 2008-31 at the same meeting that it was introduced.
Got a motion? Second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm opposed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we gotta consider it. Bill says. Don't have-
If you don't get unanimous approval, then it carries over to the next meeting.
So the road stays closed for 4 weeks.
That's during construction.
Is it all?
Can we get the email approved, isn't it close now?
They've only got 10 days with the state, and that's Friday.
If I abstain, will that be unanimous?
No, it's be unanimous consent by all members present.
But to just consider.
Just to
You can
consider.
still- you can still vote no.
You can still vote against it.
Next time.
You can vote,
In the
you can
adoption.
vote in favor of considering it tonight. And then when the motion comes up to approve it, you can vote against it, if that's your choice.
So if I vote to consider it tonight, they go ahead and complete it, Mr. Chairman.
They could go ahead and
Yeah.
complete it against your
Yeah.
vote against, if you decide to vote against it.
Then I'll vote to consider it. Change my vote. I won't keep that road
So you-
closed any longer we have to.
Okay,
So you want to get a voice vote again on that motion, make sure everybody's
all in
unanimous.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none.
And you can call for the adoption or rejection of ordinance 2008-31.
I move for the adoption of ordinance number 2008-31 without further amendment.
We have a first,
I second it, but I'm sure gonna miss it.
a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Passes.
Hayes.
Aye.
Barrow.
Nay.
Majors.
Nay.
Summers.
Aye.
Beglin.
Aye.
3 ayes, 2 nays.
The Huntingburg City Council meeting in its entirety will air this Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Meanwhile, the flatboat trip to New Orleans in honor of Abraham Lincoln is almost complete. At last week's kickoff in Rockport, Indiana First Lady Sherry Daniels spoke at the event.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and privilege for me to be here today. I am a huge fan of Lincoln and have been since I was in about 4th grade, and I remember writing a poem, which luckily for you I don't remember all of the poem. But the title of my poem was very unique. It was called Abraham Lincoln. And every time I tried to recite the poem to my father, he would cut me off right after that. So that just made me persevere to become more and more of a Lincoln fan. I have to agree with our state treasurer and say that, I've been very tired of Illinois and Kentucky claiming Abraham Lincoln. And I think it's high time that we Hoosiers reclaimed Abraham Lincoln for what he was, and that is a Hoosier. And I want to thank everyone here and the people on this committee for making that possible today. Lincoln spent his years from age 7 to 21 here in Indiana, and this is where he learned to use a felling axe. This is where he worked very hard with his father, clearing land to build a cabin, where his father used these logs to build furniture, as his father was a carpenter, and where Lincoln began his education, most of it which was self-taught. He also had some hardships here. He lost his mother here. And so it's only fitting and proper that we today recognize Abraham Lincoln as a Hoosier. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you all for all you've done to put together this event. And I am looking forward to taking this flatboat ride with you today. Thank you so much.
That'll wrap up this edition of 27 Minutes here on WJTS 27. For the entire crew, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. Have a great night.